This is the Cricket Betting Podcast. Welcome along. I'm Ed Hawkins. This is a special episode of the Cricket Betting Podcast for crickstats.ai because not only do we give you routes to profit for the fifth test between England and India, we tell you exactly who wins the 100 in our ultimate betting guide to the competition. You don't want to miss it. Let's say hi to Richard Mann of sportinglife.com, who called the winner of that tournament for this podcast this time last year. Hello, Richard. Do you have the winner this year?
I do. No spoilers yet, though.
No spoilers. You've got to stick around for the winner and the runner-up, by the way, in the 100. Joined as ever by Paul Krishnamurty, pro punter. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm okay. It's still just a little bit shell-shocked from seeing a non-rain affected draw in Manchester, but otherwise okay.
Yeah, bonkers stuff. But the flattest of flat wickets. We'll get to what the oval pitch is going to be doing in a bit, but we've just got a bit of housekeeping for you. The best bets, which come at the end of the show, are returning 18.3 points. Stick around for those. And if you think that's good, then get to the comments section and get subscribed to the VIP Telegram channel, which is showing monstrous profits and numbers. Your ROI is 21%, and we've got 24.7 points in profit bets as they happen, in play gold, etc. We saw it, and we did it in the fourth test. We'll do it again for the fifth. Don't miss out on winning wagers. Get subscribed, and you can check the P&L figures all there. It's pinned on the channel, weekly, monthly, annual subs, all available. Also, sign up to crickstats.ai and get a discount for the best cricket betting tool by using the code POD25. Go and do that now, and you're away. Every stat you can think of for your punting, top bats, bowlers, boundary percentages for teams, six hittings for teams, search by player performance quotes, and plenty more. We use all of that for England versus India in the fifth test Thursday at 11 o'clock at the Oval. Teams, pitches, team reports, in-play strategies, player win rates, all coming up on this show, and every team analysed and ranked in the 100 with the key stats and the player win rates for your top bats and bowlers. We've got an unmissable ground guide from Paul, the best betting angles on some of the venues, and we will tell you who beats who in the final. I'm going to take a breath and ask Richard, how was your punting week, Rich?
Feels a little one that got away, really. The test match we had a really good runs trade from the VIP channel, but some frustrating ones. A couple of good bets up though in the county championship again for the VIP. A couple of those 50 bets, a could cover a ball working its magic again, and there's more action in the VIP channel for this week as well. So lots to look forward to there. Hopefully we can have a good one.
Yeah, it's four batters, isn't it, to follow in the championship? You've got to subscribe to the VIP. I'm not going to tell you who it is because Richard's done lots of hard work on those. Paul called that Monster England total runs in play. How are you feeling about things?
Well, look, that was a lovely winner. That was a really lovely innings, and I was sitting beautifully after that, profitable on that. Both sides backed in the in-play system, fully expecting England win. But the weekend was horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, I've got to be honest, that India innings at Old Trafford, of all places where the pitches always deteriorate, one of the most shocking things I've ever seen. I mean, look, hats off to Rich, who's been saying this for like 2 years. These pitches in England are just getting better and better and better, and they hold up and they're easier to bat on. But I must admit, at 0 for 2, I couldn't see them getting 200, let alone 424.
They should have bowled Harry Brook earlier, clearly. Do we get another monster run fest at the Oval? Let's find out. This is the England versus India fifth test preview. Starts 11 o'clock Thursday. England 21-20. General. India 5-2 with AK Bets, Betfair, Sportsbook, Matchbook, and the draw is 17-5 with VBet. England, we do expect team changes. They always put us away on their team, announcing it earlier and earlier, but maybe they go with this: Crawley, Duckett, Pope, Root, Brooks, Stokes, Smith, of course, as you were, Dawson as well, and then Atkinson, Tongue, and Cook coming into the 11. Can't really see Archer playing again. That would be mad. Wokes is exhausted. Cast hasn't taken a wicket with the old ball. I'll get Richard's view in a second. India also surely going to make changes. I mean, Bumrah couldn't get up the steps at Old Trafford at one point. Jaiswal, Rahul, Sai, Gill, Jurel, of course, coming in for Rishabh Pant. Jadeja, Sundar. Does Kuldeep get a game? I've got him in this 11. Siraj, and then it's 1 from 3. Deep Prasid or Shardul Thakur, and maybe a bolter with Harshit Rana coming in. Might offer them something a bit different. Rich, plenty of food for thought on these teams. India consistently worried about their batting depth. Probably can't really solve that. What are your views on those 2 11s?
Actually, I think you're absolutely spot on there. And I think Rana would be a good fit for the Oval as well. Tall line bowler. I've always done well at this venue. You think back, Glenn McGrath, Steve Harmison would be another one. I think they have to play Kuldeep as well. 2-1 down in the series. Final game, they need an aggressive attacking wicket-taking option, and as we've seen really all summer, it's very hard for the finger spinners. I mean, Washington really is the only one who's had any impact, but they're going to need to take 20 wickets, and a wrist spinner might give them the opportunity to do that. I think England have to make those changes. They have to look after Archer for the Ashes. But the big probably worry for England actually is their best bowler when they've really needed wickets to basically win them the series or get them in front has been Stokes, and I think he'll play, but I just can't see how much bowling he'll do next week, Ben Stokes. He might bowl a couple of really long spells, maybe 1 in each innings, but then I can hardly see him being able to walk. So I think that will hurt England. I think they're essentially just going to have 4 bowlers and a little bit of Stokes.
But
Yeah.
I mean, have we actually heard that Bumrah's not playing? Because Gill said last night he might play.
Yeah, we haven't heard. We haven't got confirmation of it, but I mean, there was a video on Twitter going around of him basically not getting up. He had to be helped up the steps.
Really?
And I think the sort of the vibe from the India camp is that is Bumrah said I would play 3 tests. I'm not playing any more than that. And he was saying I will play at Lords. So I think it's basically Bumrah's call.
I think in his defence that the stress factor he had last time, I think it's in a place, and I read a really good thing from Shane Bond about this, and he would know better than most. If it goes again in that place, it might not be the sort of thing they can fix in terms of being able to get him back up playing professional cricket again. So he has got to be really careful in terms of his career. So I don't think he'll play. I think he'll think, well, there's more important things to come.
Okay.
Statistically, of course, but India much better with Bumrah. That bizarre stat that they win more without him, and their bowling strike rate's better without him as well. But that is obviously just a fluke. Sorry, Paul, I'll cut across you.
No, I'm just, and I'm wondering, I mean, because obviously this is all team news coming out as we speak, as it were. Again, it's Wokes definitely not playing. I mean, Wokes has got a great record at the Oval. I mean, it seems madness to go in without him.
Yeah, well, I think he's just been bowled into the ground. So we'll see. I mean, it's all subject to change. But
some tired bodies on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that England 11, they're changing 3 bowlers probably does seem extreme. Maybe they will ask Wokes to go to the well instead of bringing Cook in, but we'll see. I want to get some pitch stats. And then I'm going to come to you, Paul. It's our traditional annual reminder that the Oval is not the road that everyone tells you it is, at least not in the first innings. Your last 5 first match innings at the Oval: 3-2-5, 2-8-3, 4-6-9, 1-1-8, 1-9-1. There's been early seam and swing in Kennington. That 4-6-9 by Australia against India in the World Test Championship in 2023. And if you recall that game, that was a rescue act by Travis Head after early carnage. Last 5, no draws. Weather forecast: good bit of rain on day 1 around about lunchtime, but nothing to bet on. Your average first innings runs per wicket is 27.7, and then moving through the innings in the second, it's 26. It gets better here at the Oval, 30 and then 34. Paul, what are you thinking about runs at the moment?
I'm thinking very much along those lines. Look, the lines have got to be high because of what we've seen in the series. That's you know, yeah. Look at the form. You've just run through the first innings, but it's the whole match. Only 5 of the last 20 Test innings at the Oval were 300 plus, and only 2 of those 20 were 400 plus. Even in the county championship this year, only 1 in 3 innings is 300 plus. So you would have to think on those lines it's probably an under situation. And then look at that first day forecast. Look, I mean, it's been driving me mad the whole series, the Met Office forecasts, putting on 50, 60, 70% likely rain and nothing happens, right? But it does not look good for the first day. It does look like it's going to be on and off. Looks overcast. It's not going to be a good time to bat. So I'm absolutely going in at unders. And I would expect really to get at least 2-1 on under 300.
There you go. That's one for the note. But Richard, what happens in the match?
Well, I think from a starting point again, and I know we keep saying it, I don't think India are a bad price at 5-2 just to start off your book. I ain't got a massively strong opinion either way on who's the better side. I think India probably don't deserve to be 2-1 down, and I think a draw would probably be a fair reflection of the whole series. But again, trading wise, I think if you take the bigger price and then look to work from there, if England bat first and it's overcast, and India get amongst them, India could absolutely win this game. So I won't be afraid of batting at India at all. England have to make changes with the ball. Stokes won't ball a lot. And the other nagging doubt I've got, I know this series is still live, but already we're thinking about the Ashes, and England were beaten in the last test of last summer by Sri Lanka. They were actually embarrassed. They were really poor in that game. I know that series was dead, but England have kind of put. They can't lose this series, can they? And attention is already turning to the Ashes now, and I just a slight nagging doubt that this might have an end of summer feel to it.
Yeah, they're not great end of summer feel England actually. That they suffered from that in the past. Sri Lanka game, which was last summer, I think. Paul, what are your views on what Rich has just said?
I completely agree. I think psychologically, you have to look and say that on Saturday morning, they probably thought the series was won. I think that India are very unlucky. Or if not unlucky, then they will be kicking themselves. They are 2-1 down and not 2-1 up in this series. This is Oval is a result ground. So I think 5-2 is value. Now, I have a bet here that I have to update. So the one good thing about that draw at the weekend was it set my 3-1 bet up. Lovely. So I had 2 points, 8-1. Start the series on 3-1 England in the best bets. So I'm going to cash that out now and lay 8 points at 2.1 on Betfair to take at least 6 points profit. To be honest with you, I'm very much inclined to just back India and take on the draw. But given what we've seen already, I think I'd rather just take the profits. But I think if you're asking me for what's the value bet right now, it's India at 5-2.
Good. And do we have in play thoughts, angles, strategies, which we go and put a bit more flesh on the bones, Richard, and then Paul, I'll come to you.
Well, the second innings, I mean, first thing you can obviously assess conditions and over the first few days. So that to me would seem like a sensible point to start betting on the runs markets. I still think this ground, like every other one, will get better to bat on. In the second innings, I'm a bit annoyed about this. At Lords, I had a little bit of a project going. Harry Brook, Zach Crawley, and Jamie Smith, when India's spinners were bowling in tandem. Next method of dismissal, 25-1 stumped, and you can do the individuals. Now it was purely Brook, Crawley, and Smith because I have them as dancers. Now, didn't come to anything. They weren't basically in long enough, were they, in that second innings? But then in the first innings last week, Brook got out stumped. Now, again, it would have probably been a second innings project, I felt, when the pitch really started to turn. Wouldn't have had Root down. But there were two stumpings in that England innings. And I think if Kuldeep plays as well, we know that England, those guys, Brook, Crawley, and Smith, they like to run at spinners. And you'd be taking 25-1. And I just wonder if that's just, look, we're not talking big stakes here, but something to have a little bit of an interest on. I wouldn't have had Root for all money because he rarely leaves his crease and he's too good. That was just brilliant keeping. But I think the others are vulnerable.
Paul?
Completely agree with that. I mean, I don't think those markets, those method of dismissal markets, really take into account the player at all. They're just kind of generic prices. So there's bound to be some value there if you can spot that about a player. The two bits that I'm not going to say anything in play at this stage, just a couple of specials I like. Look, this is speculative, but no ton in the match at 6-1. That's 1 in 2 of the last 4 matches at the Oval. I know the series hasn't gone that way, but it's possible. And 6-1 is a big price in that particular market. And 100 under 156.5 highest individual score. That is 1 in 7 of the last 8 Oval Test matches.
The big edge on that. It's a great spot. Let's move on to players to follow. And I've got an asterisk by Stokes' name. We're just going to keep an eye on his performance quotes when they start to trickle through, because be really surprised if he goes through a big bowling pool in this test in terms of overs, with Australia coming up. So they might not factor that in some of the layers. Win rate's all a bit tricky for India in terms of top bowler, because we don't think Bumrah's going to play. So I think perhaps Siraj should be a little bit shorter. Is a good try, 72, Sky Bet, Paddy Power, Betfair. Gill, most sixes. Spoke about this on the pod last time. 10-1, Bet365. That's most sixes for India in the match. There's no Pant, and the averages had Gill behind Pant, of course, but it was the next best by some way. Smith win rate is good for top England batting first innings. 4 wins in the last 13. You can get 72 Unibet, Bet MGM, Virgin Bet. This is his home ground. Rahul has a ton on this ground. 4-1 Bet Victor, Boyle Sports. Top first innings bat for India. Sai Sudarshan, another one who plays on his home ground, so to speak. He is a former Surrey player. 6-1 Bet Victor. I do think he's a serious individual. Thakur has 250s at Kennington Oval, 28-1. Bet good win. Not sure whether he plays. Of course, money back if he doesn't. Players to follow for you, Paul.
Well, I mentioned Chris Woakes before. I mean, it's a real headache because he's tired and he might not play, but his record is fantastic. Last 3 tests at the Oval, 17 wickets. He's won the top bowler market for England in 6 innings 4 times and got 1 tie. So 7-2 with Bet Victor on that front form would be incredible. I agree with you completely about Siraj. Siraj is overpriced if Bumrah's not going to play massively, and he's not a bad bet anyway. He took 4 wickets against Australia here in the World Test Championship final. He's got 37 wickets in 10 matches in England. Bet365 have got a market for top first innings bowler, both teams. Here I like Siraj 17-2. That looks huge. And again, Akash Deep 14-1. That's just got to be the wrong price, hasn't it? You're getting your money back and he doesn't play.
Yep, absolutely. If he plays, may well seam and swing it. So yeah, it's a great spot. Thank you very much. A reminder, please, to give us love and likes on the podcast provider of your choice, please. Do check the comments below to subscribe to our VIP Telegram channel for 21% ROI and 24.7 points profit so far. Also use pod25 to sign up for crickstats.ai. The best bets for that England versus India 5th test, they do come at the end of the show. But now it is the ultimate betting guide to the 100. And we're going to start with the outright. Then we're going to have a bit of a ground guide. In the middle, we go through every single team, strengths, weaknesses, rankings, and your best ways to play, and some top bat and bowler win rate spots. And we will finish with who beats who in the final. So the outright looks like this. It's the Invincibles, who are invincible because they're the champs, 7-2 Unibet, Bet MGM, Virgin Bet. Southern Brave 9-2 Hills, Manchester Originals 11-2, Birmingham Phoenix the same, Superchargers from the North 13-2 General, Rockets 15-2 General, and then Fire 10-1 General, and then London Spirit 16s Bet365, Boyle and VBet. How does it work? Well, the winner of the league goes straight to the final. It's not a playoff style league. So win the league, goes straight to the final, and then the second and third will play off against each other. Straight to Paul Krishnamurty for the eagerly anticipated headliners from some of these venues. What are your best trends, Paul?
Okay, so easily the best for runs and sixes is Headingley. 1/3 of first innings come in 180 or more. 80% of first innings come in 140 or more. 50% of matches produced 15 or more sixes. Second, just about, is Edgbaston. 50% of matches first innings come in 160 plus, 79% 140 plus, 15 or more sixes in 43% of the matches. Then you've got a close thing between Trent Bridge, which is very solid, never see low scores in, nothing under 120 in 16 matches, 38%, 160 plus, and Old Trafford that also has 160 at 38 plus and 140 or more in 77% of innings. I'm going to go for Old Trafford here above that because last year the scores went right up. Pitch seems to have really improved there. We just saw that in the test, didn't we? At the other end, Sophia Gardens is the low one. No question about it. 100, less than 120 comes in 29% of the time, and 10 or fewer sixes 71% of the time. So that's easily the lowest scoring overall. Lords also has 10 or fewer sixes in 71% of the games. And one interesting ground on multiple fronts, Rose Bowl, 11-5 advantage to the chasers, and this, as an in-play trend, is something that Rich spotted last year. It's the opposite of the Wankide. Back overs early in the innings and back unders later on in the innings. You never see a lot of sixes in this ground, so you don't get big scores at the death.
Lovely stuff. Also consider matching up your ground characteristics with the home team characteristics. So for kickoff, do Birmingham look after some bowlers? Do they try and adjust their squad to cope with that flat wicket? And what do Northern Superchargers do as well in that regard on that flat lead surface? Have they bolstered bowling ranks? Richard Mann, 100 was a bit of a disaster last year in terms of player win rates, top bats in particular, because the openers coming into that tournament last season had tremendous win rates, and there was an absolute killer. Very, very few of them actually topped at all in the tournament. I remember it with pain. So talk balls, Richard.
Balls, right? Okay, I will talk balls. The balls just swung round corners last year. The new ball, I mean, you had guys like Tim Southey bowling 80 mile an hour and hooping it round corners. He picked up a five. He had a brilliant tournament. Sam Curran was another. And particularly under lights as well. And I mean, I'll give you an example, actually, won't talk about Oval Invincibles, but just first three games at the Oval last year, 10 for 4, 52 for 5, 31 for 4. The ball was hooping all over the place. Hence, it was really hard work for the openers. Now, the rumour going round was that there was an extra layer of lacquer on that particular white ball, and they'd done that so they could get the 100 branding on the ball. Now, this was denied by the officials, but the players were saying, off the record, this is a different ball to what we play with in the Blast, and it showed. Now, so my strategy this year, I'm probably gonna go hard hundreds for the first few games and hope that happens. And I'm not talking about just play the 5 to 6 run line. I'll probably go extreme unders just for 3 or 4 games and just see. And if it's changed this year, then fair enough, I'll suck it up and I'll reevaluate. But I might be well ahead of the game, and if I can land 1 or 2 in those first 3 or 4 games, happy days. It may well have changed, we don't know. But going on last year, extreme unders really, really paid.
Yeah, and look at the branding on the ball, I suppose. And presumably, Rich, you wouldn't be doing it you wouldn't be doing it at Leeds, or you wouldn't be doing it at Birmingham.
No, I mean, you've made a good point next. We just talked about the Oval. The Oval was a nightmare last year. I mean, I remember I was keen on Oval last year, but it was really hard work for the Opens. I mean, Dawood Milan, I've never seen him play an ugly innings, and he played a lot of ugly innings for the Oval last year, but he was hooping all over the place. He couldn't lay a bat on it.
Yeah, and I think he went into that tournament with about 35% win rate or something bonkers, and he won once in a tournament. And if you were, if you kept backing him, it wasn't pretty. Right, let's get into our team by team guide. We're going to do it in reverse price order. So we start with the worst teams and then we get to the best ones in terms of their odds. I know there is plenty of price competition with a lot of 11 to 2s, but London Spirit are clearly the Rags 16-1 bet365 Boyle Sports. You can get 11-4. They finish bottom with bet365. We should say, and we should have said this at the outright, that England players look to be available for the entire tournament, with the caveat that they may well finish this test against. Well, they won't. The England test players aren't available for the whole tournament, but they will be once that Oval test is out of the way, so long as they're not then told to rest again. So just be aware. So Spirit, last season they finished bottom. Your key stats is they have the worst joint boundary percentage in the last 10, the second lowest average score. They may well line up like this as an 11. It's David Warner, Keaton Jennings, Kane Williamson, Jamie Smith when he's done with England, Madsen, Ashton Turner, the Aussie, Jamie Overton, Dawson, Luke Wood, Richard Gleeson, Dan Worrell. Player to follow is Jennings, won 4 of his last 5 on the top bat, and Worrell 3 wins from 13. I think we're probably all in agreement that Worrell's a class act. But Paul, I'll come to you first. Views on this Spirit team with that Kane Williamson pick surely alarming. Do they understand the format at all?
Actually, I'm going to swerve that a little bit. I think there is a debate to be had about Williamson, depending on the situation. You know, he isn't attacking enough. When you're talking about T20, when 200 plus scores needed, no, he doesn't score quick enough. But in difficult batting conditions, you possibly do need an anchor. We had this, me and Rich had a bit of a debate about this on WhatsApp during the SA20 one go, if I recall. And just, you know, what we're talking about, what Rich was just saying about the ball moving around, he could be important here. Also, I would just say with Spirit, and a lot of these teams, there's a lot of churn. There's a lot of churn in these squads. This is a very different team to last season. I'm not saying they're going to particularly achieve anything, but it is a completely different team. Jamie Smith's an amazing signing. Overton, good signing. Warner, highly questionable. Ashton Turner, pretty good. So there's a bit of an unknown quantity about them, and I certainly wouldn't be backing them to finish bottom at a short price, put it that way.
Kane is your captain. Warner was bombed out of the MLC, presumably for just annoying people. That's just a guess, but it was a bit weird. They just dropped him halfway through. Seattle Hawkers. Richard, views?
I see what Paul's saying, and I think if we get a lot of sort of 120, 130 contests, Williamson might get them over the line, Jennings, those Nudler, Nerdler types. But I think when they play a good side in a reasonably high scoring match, there's just not enough power and boundary hitting ability there. Not for me. They might not finish bottom, but I don't think they'll be too far away. Sorry, Paul.
That's all
right. Have you got any nuggets for this London Spirit team? Best ways to play, Paul, and then Rich.
Liam Dawson player performance, always a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, and another is underrated with the bat as well. I think this bowling attack could be quite dangerous, particularly under lights. So I think in terms of innings runs or taking on oppositions, I think if Worrell gets a go under lights with Luke Wood, they will take early wickets. It's the batting that concerns me.
Just on player performance, we've an incredible record on player performance, particularly from the Blast, recognising that there are some players who are just way too good for the fair, which is an offer, and we expect some more of the same people like Willie, Sam Curran, Riley Meredith. We're going to talk about a player again now with Welsh Fire. He's called Steve Smith, and his record in the Big Bash is bonkers in terms of top bat. I mean, you could find it's very, very easy indeed this tournament. But Welsh Fire 10-1. Generally, last season they came 6th. They've never qualified in 4 seasons. We do think they're going to line up like this. Bairstow, Smith, you've only got 100 balls, so you've got to get him in as soon as possible. It's an early indicator to whether Welsh Fire know what they're doing. If Smith doesn't open, then they're not on it. Luke Wells, Tom Kohler, Cadmore, Tom Abel, the captain, big tall Paul Walter, Chris Green, Wokes, David Payne, Meredith, just mentioned him, Mason Crane, the leggy. They've lost David Willey. Key stats, joint worst boundary percentage in the last 10 games, lowest average score of 111. We've mentioned Smith already with what he did on Big Bash top bats. Luke Wells has 3 wins in 14. is a bit of an asterisk by Smith's name, by the way, as Australia versus South Africa ODI from August 19 to 24. So he could miss 3 games there. Maybe he returns for the knockouts, but we don't know. Richard.
Better than last season. I think Smith, they need some sort of solidity, don't they? I don't think anyone scored 150 runs for them last season. They were that bad. Green, excellent pickup. But again, I think overall, they're still going to fall well short of the required standard.
Paul.
Same. Smith's a good signing. Smith and Meredith Green are good signings, but you've lost Willie, you've lost Harris Ralph, you've lost Glenn Phillips, lost Matt Henry, so don't really see any improvement there overall.
Yeah, I think I lost to Freedy as well. Well, sort of loaded up in the first half of the season and then collapsed when the players left them. Best plays, Richard.
Couple. Chris Green, usually a massive price for top bat. He has just been batting brilliantly for Lancashire, big 100 in the county championship. And then a name to look out for, he's just been a late addition in the latest wildcard. Ben Kellaway of Glamorgan. He's a terrific cricketer. He's having a brilliant summer for Glamorgan. He won't start, he might not even get a game, but he should do at some point, and he'll definitely go under the radar, Ben Kellaway, but he's a player to watch. He'll be playing for England one day, I've no doubt of that.
Paul, anything to add?
Well, I think you've mentioned Smith, so let's see what price he actually goes off at. Just also what I said before about unders on 6s. This is the ground, Sophia Gardens, to go unders.
Okay. Trent Rockets are next. They're 15-2 generally. Sky Bet, Paddy Power, Bet 365 on your each way. Odds play half the first 2. There might be a reason why I'm mentioning that. Last season they came 5th. I think they're going to line up like this. Banton, Holden, Root, Willie Stoinis, Hayne, Rahan Ahmed, who's in bonkers form, George Lind, the South African operator with bat and ball, Lockie Ferguson, Calvin Harrison, and then an option of 3, Parkinson, the spinner, Cook, or John Turner, the pacer. Highest average score in the last 10 at 146. It's the best in the tournament. Best joint dot ball percentage with the ball as well. Your player market stat is it's Bance Banton is a 25% chance on top bat. Paul, I like this lot, so long as I don't pick Root.
I like them too. I mean, again, a lot of churn, but I think this works well. I mean, they've got rid of Rashid Khan at the exact right time, haven't they? Just as he loses his way. And in they've brought David Willey, tremendous at this level. George Lind, excellent all-rounder. Stoinis, one of the great finishers in world cricket, and I would have thought perfect for the 100. Rian Ahmed, as you say, in form. Even Adam Hose, decent at this level. So, yeah, absolutely. I think they've got a chance. They're contenders and possibly the value option at 15-2.
Yeah, Willie on those performance markets. Keep an eye on that. I suspect he's going to be cropping up some point in the tournament. Rich, Trent Bridge has spun quite a bit. I mean, did also spin towards the end of the blast as well.
It did.
Yeah, what are your views?
Yeah, it did. And last year in this competition, it's tended to spin. But I do wonder if they've tailored it that way when they've had Rashid Khan. And I wonder if this year they'll think, well, spin isn't our main go-to. It's such a brilliant and explosive batting lineup on paper that personally I think they'd be balmy to look at those sort of wickets. Get flat pitches because we know it's a high scoring ground when the pitches are good, and this team can score really big. I like them too, actually. They wouldn't be my number 1 pick, but they're not a million miles away.
And any strategies for these, Paul?
Well, last year I had my eye on John Turner for top wicket taker. Very good strike rate, so let's stick with him.
All right, and Richard?
Yeah, no market on this yet, but there was in the IPL, so keep your eyes peeled, and we'll obviously try and update the groups as well. But highest innings score in the tournament, I think this team could go very close in this, particularly if Root doesn't play, and he might get a rest early on as well. I mean, Banton is just a brilliant player. Willie, outstanding form in the blast, as we know from our VIP channel. Stoinis, Hayne, Rian, Lynn's been blasting it for South Africa. Loads of power there. I think these could make just about the highest score in the tournament, particularly if Trent Bridge plays ball in terms of the pitch.
Okay, we've got Northern Superchargers next. They are 13-2. They're also 13-2 with Bet365 to finish bottom as a bit of a clue as to what I think about this lot. We'll see if the guys agree. Last season they came 4th. Crawley, Pepper, Milan, Harry Brook, Lawrence, David Miller of the South Africa, James Fuller, Santner, Rashid, Asad El Rashid, Matty Potts, Pat Brown, lowest average score of 116 last season in the last 10 suggests their batting needed bolstering. They've had Paran in the past, they've had Matt Short in the past, they've had Ben Dwarshuis in the past. Your player stat is that Adil Rashid has 3 wins in 14 for top bowler. Asterisk by David Miller's name. I think they might have moved on an ODI from him, but just beware. Richard, the fact I've quoted their price to finish bottom is a bit of a clue. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we'd be in agreement there, and I hate to say it as a Yorkie, but they just look really poor to me. I mean, Brooks obviously the standout, and he might just win them enough games to keep them competitive. But I mean, Crawley, especially in this format. Milan doesn't look the force of old. I hate to say it, being a massive fan. Batting looks weak to me. The one standout is the spin, but I just don't think it's that effective at Headingley. Rashid may well win the top bowler market. But a wrist spin and finger spin, it doesn't usually do the job at Headingley. I think they're on a hiding to nothing, and I look down even at the squad depth. I don't really know who they bring in when they inevitably struggle at the start.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a road, Paul. And we mentioned it at the top of the show. You match the ground characteristics with the team characteristics. Is this bowling group good enough? I'm not worried about the batting. They're going to score runs. Is this bowling group going to stop the opposition?
No, I'm with both of you. I think they're the weak side in it. They're the one side to me. They look like they've gone backwards. They've lost Nicky Poran as well, which is a huge loss. Hasn't been replaced. No, I mean Dwarshuis decent all rounder, Santa decent all rounder, but no, they're not going to control teams. And I agree with you. I think they'll finish bottom. They're certainly valued to finish bottom.
Pride and class probably comes into this 11, actually. Maybe for one of Potts or Brown, but his fitness is probably suspect. Best ways to play, Paul, presumably we're just talking runs.
Yeah, back their opponents to score runs. Back the sort of 160, 170 lines at good prices.
Richard.
And total sixes as well.
Yeah, I'd concur. And the good thing about the 100, and I know not everyone's in love with it, but it's one match a night. Lots of liquidity on the runs lines on Betfair. So whether you love it or hate it, it's great for the punter. Loads of markets to play, and I think runs.
We are halfway through your ultimate betting guide to the 100 on the Cricket Betting Podcast for Crick Stats. We do reveal who beats who in the final. You've got to stay around. You've got to stay around for the best bets as well. Get subscribed to that crickstats.ai with code POD25. Key betting data for every team on their own homepage. Top bat bowler win lists, man of the match win list, average scores, who hits most sixes, fours, player performance quotes, everything. It's top 4 time in terms of the betting odds. Next best is Birmingham Phoenix, 11-2 generally. Last season they came second. Birmingham, just a side who are consistently underrated for some bonkers reason, I think anyway. They could well lined up like this. Ben Duckett opening the batting with either Will Smead or Anarin Donald, who Donald was, the last time I looked, the highest 6 hitter in the blast. Absolute bonkers hitter. Bethel, Livingston, Mousey, Joe Clark, Louis Kimber, keeping wickets, Howell, Southey, Milne, Bolt. So that's the New Zealand team. Key stat, highest boundary percentage in the last 10. Very, very aggressive. Says something about why the Birmingham ground has been full of runs. It's because Birmingham go very hard. Your player market, I've just mentioned him, Donald, most sixes with Bet365 in the match. He'll be a decent price. Duckett as well. In 14 games, he has a 43% win rate on top bat. He is going to win at some stage in this tournament. Howell is a 4-1 chance on top bowler. Strong top 6, strong in the pace department. Should we just give them the title now, Paul?
Well, no, because there are other teams, and we've seen in the past, it doesn't happen, but they are rock solid. We say this every year. You can't really find a weakness. It's a real star-studded lineup, well balanced. Great signing there with Trent Bolt. Slight negative, though, I suppose. They've lost Jamie Smith and Moeen Ali as well. So perhaps slightly inferior and they haven't won in the past, but they're certainly contenders.
Richard, We talked about player performance quotes. That caliber of player basically just being a bit too good. Mousley is another one. We'd probably expect Bethel to come into that category in this tournament. But are they good enough to win the thing?
Oh, I think they are. They're definite contenders out. They just well, brilliant batting lineup, really. Duckett was just absolutely outstanding in this last year, but it's the bowling that really excites me. And I know this is a flat pitch here, but there were moments, and it was generally for the opposition, where teams struggled to score. I mean, look last year how the bowlers performed. Southey 14 wickets in nine. He had a five for Milne 12 wickets in nine. 17 and Sean Abbott, who's essentially being replaced now by Trent Boult, he took 11 wickets last season. Boult is phenomenal up front. We've picked this point up so many times in the IPL. He takes wickets in that first over, and if these balls do what they did last year and swing early, Boult could be absolute carnage. So keep that in mind. I mean, they've just got a wonderful swing and seam attack, perfect for what we saw last year. If it's the same, and don't get me wrong, it's been a lot drier this summer so far than last year. But I mean, look, the weather could easily change, couldn't it? If we get any sort of rain, they could be deadly.
Yeah, that highest opening partnership, making use of that Boult wicket in the first over is a way to play. I might have taken one of the other ways to play, but Paul, have another crack at this lot.
Well, I was going to say, rather than a particular player, not all the bookies have all their odds out yet. I think we all agree that this is not a wide open 8-runner contest. None of the renewals of the 100 ever has been. It's going to be probably quite a gulf. And we all agree that Birmingham are solid, very solid. Now, the market I'll be looking for when it's all priced up is name the finalists, because you often get a bit of value there. And I would have thought that Birmingham are a very good kind of banker to put in with three teams, because they're going to be there or thereabouts. You're going to have a value position come the death.
All right, Richard, anything to add on Phoenix?
Well, this just is particularly away from home. If we think we're going to get conditions somewhere like Sophia Gardens, actually, hard unders for the opposition to Birmingham Phoenix. I mean, the bowled Superchargers out for 83 at home last year. Southey 3 for the bowled Trent Rockets out for 118 as well. So they've definitely got form to do that with ball in the ranks.
All right, we've got Manchester Originals next best 11-2 generally. I know I'm saying everyone's 11-2, but it's basically we've done it on the price order on who are 11-2 with most and then fewest. That's how we're doing it. So last season this lot came 7th. That sounds bad. Have they improved? There are some caveats with that finish though, as we're going to get to. This is their possible 11: Butler, Salt, Rachin Ravinger, Heinrich Klaassen, Matty Hurst, who's a hitter, Lewis Gregory, also a strong hitter, George Garton, Tom Hartley, Noor Ahmed, Josh Tongue, and some bloke called James Anderson. Wild card, never heard of him. Joint worst average conceded with the ball. So we've got to ask that question. Is the bowling stronger? The key player stat is Butler, 6 wins in last 10. He's going to win at some stage. Are you going to be on him? Salt doesn't win when Butler plays. It's another little factor for you. Surma Mir, a bit of a loss, who did well for them. But I think there's sort of a bit of opinion this lot can have a decent crack. Richard, 7th a bit doesn't tell the whole story, does it?
Well, they didn't have Josh Butler. Massive loss last year. Phil Salt took the captaincy, and it was just all a bit of a mess. They've definitely improved. I mean, well, Butler, Salt, Ravindra, high-class player. Klaassen, maybe not being in the best of form, but I think if he's batting at Old Trafford and the pitches are like they have been all season, he could do some serious damage. And the Anderson wildcard pick's interesting. People probably think it's a bit of a gimmick, but actually, if you've been watching the Blast, he's probably been the best bowler in the Blast. Really canny, really experienced. The pitches haven't really helped him. And again, going back to that wider point, if it's like it was last year, and the new ball does a bit, then who else do you want? You want James Anderson taking that new ball. So I think the bowling strengthened. Noah Ahmed's definitely a good pickup. I think the real contender's very close to being my pick.
Just on that ball thing, if that was the case with the extra lacquer causing carnage, the organisers and your TV companies, they don't want that. People want runs. So if that was the case, they may change it. So basically stick keep listening to us because we'll tell you what's happening. Paul.
Very, very impressed with this lot. Again, there's so much churn. Don't think what's happened in the past is all that relevant. Didn't have Butler last season. They've now got Ratchin Ravindra, they've got Heinrich Klaassen, you've got Noor Ahmed. You're talking three totally world-class players there. Gregory's a good all-rounder. George Garton's a good all-rounder. I think they're contenders, really strong contenders.
Just quickly to finish off, any strategies for these, Rich, then Paul?
Big runs. I'm glad you said what you said about the ball as well, because we're not saying here this will definitely happen. We're just going on what we said last year. We'll have an early look and maybe change, but if the pitches are flat, these will get big scores, won't they?
Paul, anything to add on that lot?
Yeah, agree with that. And also add to the previous point, they're another team I want in permutations to reach the final.
There you go. We've got 2 teams left in the 100 Ultimate Betting Guide. I bet you won't find a better podcast which analyses the teams like this, telling you who's going to do what and when. 9-2 Hills. It's Southern Brave. Last season they came third and then they were beaten in the final. This is the 11. Vince, Finn Allen, Kiwi. Then it'll be Roy or Coles. I think Jason Roy may start, but Coles is, a serious player. Deploy is a favourite of ours. Laurie Evans, Cartwright, the Perth Scorcher, Craig Overton, Bracewell, the Kiwi all-rounders, super player, Chris Jordan, Timmel Mills, and more on him in a minute, and then Archer or Topley. I'm not sure Archer's going to be playing much in this. Joint best ball percentage, dot ball percentage with the ball, solid numbers all round, batting as well. Vince, 39% top bat win rate last 2 years. Timmel Mills, 44% win rate last 2 years. Both of them played 18 games each. Those are study samples. Made knockouts 3 of the last 4. This lot are consistent, Paul.
Yeah, we tipped them last year. I think both of us were on them at 15-2 or something, so they're quite a bit shorter this year. A lot going for them, but they have lost Ryan Ahmed. Kyron Pollard had a good season last year. He's gone. Akil Hussein's gone. In comes Jason Roy, not convinced. Michael Bracewell could be very good at this level. Finn Allen, again, could be dangerous, but I don't necessarily think they'll move forward. I'd also say, James Vince had an amazing season last year. Can he repeat that?
Richard, solid or not?
Yeah, I think they are. They probably should have won it last year, really. Think back to that final. They kind of had it sewn up, didn't they? Agree with what Paul said, though. Vince 424 at 53 last year, and you look at some of the batters in that, say, top 3, Alan, Roy, they're very hit and miss, aren't they? And if Vince was to have a quieter season, I'd just be a bit worried about that batting. I'm not sure Laurie Evans is a player who was as well. So, excellent bowling attack. I just think there are other teams who have maybe just tick a few more boxes now.
And strategies, best ways to play, if there are any, they don't have to be.
Michael Bracewell, player performance.
Richard?
I didn't have much here.
Okay, we're going to move on to Oval Invincibles, who are your holders. They are 7-2 with Unibet and BetMGM. They finished top of the tree, so they went straight to the final last season. We think they might line up something like this. Will Jacks, Muyeye, who's had an excellent season with Kent, a bit of a breakthrough season in the Blast for him. Jordan Cox, Sam Curran, Donovan Ferreira, the South African hitter. We've been talking about him for ages on the pod. He's a terrific player. Sam Billings, Tom Curran, Rashid Khan comes into this side. Jason Berendorf, Nathan Sauter, who's very, very solid and reliable, doesn't get the perhaps credit he deserves. Saqib Mahmood, 3rd for average score, 4th on boundary percentage, 4th on bowling dot ball percentage. I think it's just good, this lot. Player Cox, top bat 4 of the last 12. They've lost Adam Zampa. Rich, they are the team to beat. I just wonder, looking at that top 6, compared to some of the others, have they moved on?
Milan's moved on, Roy's moved on. I think Murray is a terrific young player, and the key in there for me is the 2 Currans. Sam Curran's batting is just going from strength to strength. England are probably going to have a look at him again, and then loads of finishing power. I love Ferreira. Tom Curran been blasting it in the Blast just at the end, real death slog over specialist. Rashid can give it a clip down the order as well. I still think they tick an awful lot of boxes. And the bowling's really good. Berendorf again, if the new ball does something, and even if it doesn't, very good operator. Rashid for Zampa, it's kind of like for like, whether Rashid's on the slide a little bit or not. Loads going for them, and if you're an old fan of this show, you'll know we talk so much about a pedigree in franchise competitions and how important it is, and they've won the last two. They've got a similar sort of setup. Captain Sam Billings again. I just think what you see is what you get, and that's a very, very strong outfit. I think they've got to go extremely close.
Paul, you're like me. We've got to get a favourite beat. We can get this Invincibles team beaten, can't we?
I think we can. I'm not knocking them. I agree, franchise pedigree, absolutely. There's a lot of class in there. But I think a lot of other teams have moved forward this year, as we discussed. I don't think they have. And I think that if Rashid Khan's your main pick when he's, to me, going backwards, they're beatable. They're certainly not value as short price favourites.
Some other plays, Rich.
Well, I mean, Tom Curran was quiet last year, but he's a brilliant finisher. He's top scorer in the final in 2023. He's always a big price in this top batsman market, and he's just one of those who you can just keep following. He'll land at some point 20 to 1. So, yeah, he'll do for me.
Great. Oh, I love the 21 to 1 winner. Paul, we beat that?
No, nothing special. Just one little thing. There's been 2 ties in 19 matches at the Oval. So is that the ground to do our tie trade?
Love
Tie
that.
trade. Don't forget the tie trade. Absolutely. If
Well,
price is at 50 or Betfair Exchange, 60, 70. You only need it to go to the last few balls. I mean,
you guys were saying last week about this. It's been more your project than mine as well. These sort of kind of lower scoring matches, it's when it really comes to its own. And we did have this last year, didn't we? In this competition, there were monstrous scores at all.
yeah. I think it paid off as well in that T20 final in the Tri Series. South Africa, New Zealand was a tight finish.
Definitely.
And it did. Someone asked me on Twitter, and I replied to him, but yes, it was there at the tie trade, and it was from 60 into a last over finish. Lovely stuff. As is tradition for your ultimate betting guide to a tournament, Richard and Paul are now going to tell you who beats who in the final. They may even squeeze into a best bet. We will find out. Richard, as you called Oval Invincibles last time for us, you get to go first this year.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Oval. I think Oval Invincibles beat Manchester Originals.
There you go. Richard's named the finalists and the winner. Paul, any agreement there?
Slightly. I'm going to go Manchester Originals to win it and Trent Rockets to be runners-up.
Okay, we've got a consensus about Originals there. I also like Rockets and don't mind Phoenix either. I might give Invincibles a swerve. That's the way I'm going towards at the minute. So there you go. That is what happens in the 100. You don't need to watch it now. But do any of those selections make it into the best bets? Remember, they're up plus 18 or so. Pens and paper at the ready. Here we go. Richard Mann, first, please. You've got 5 points to spend.
Okay, so I'm going to kick off with Oval Invincibles. 2 points to win the 100. This is very much a trade. Hopefully we can get a nice greened up book sort of midway towards the end of the tournament. So that's my first 2 points. And then the test match this week, I'm going to have 1.5 points on Josh Tongue, top England first innings bowler. Hopefully he can blow away the tail again on his recall. And then the other 1.5 points, Ravi Jadeja, to make a first innings 50 for India. That would be his 6th 50 plus score of the series. Amazing form.
Paul, where's your 5 points going?
I'm going to have 2 points on Mohammad Siraj to take over 3.5 wickets at 4-5 with Bet365. I'll have for top first innings bowler both teams 1 point Siraj 70-2, half a point Akash Deep at 14-1. And I'll have 1.5 points on Manchester Originals at 11-2 to win 100.
Those are your best bets. Get them down, get them on. Thank you for listening. Give us some love on the podcast provider of your choice, please. This has been the cricket betting podcast for crickstats.ai. Do get subscribed to the VIP Telegram channel if you want to win money. And best of luck with your plays on the 5th test. And if you can get some of those 100 bets on as well. We are going to be back next week for more of the good stuff on the Cricket Betting Podcast. We will see you then.